Welcome to EPG Pathshala on the subject Social Medicine and Community Health. I am Professor C.P. Mishra, working in the Department of Community Medicine, Institute of Medical Sciences, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. I shall be discussing the module excreta disposal with a special reference to different types of latrines. This module belongs to the paper Environmental Health. The module under reference has been developed by a team comprising of myself as principal investigator, Dr. B.M. Gupta, ex-professor and head, Department of Community Medicine, IMS BHU Varanasi, has been paper coordinator. The module is written by me along with P. Kesri, and the content of this module has been reviewed by Dr. J. Tandon, ex-professor and head, Department of Community Medicine, Institute of Medical Sciences, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. For this module, a number of learning objectives have been set. These are to list packages of rural sanitation, to enumerate priorities for rural sanitation, to list social factors related to excreta disposal, to enumerate elements of sanitation barrier, and to enumerate essential features of sanitary latrines, to state salient features of different types of latrines, and finally to explain public health importance of excreta disposal. We all know that Millennium Developmental Goals were initiated in around 2000 and 8 goals were set. Among all the goals, access to basic sanitation stands as the most neglected Millennium Developmental Goal. Poor sanitation costs to India around $54 billion or 6.6% of GDP according to 2006 estimates of World Bank. There are a number of losses in terms of educational attainment, in terms of productivity time, and also if the sanitation conditions are bad in any country, it affects the tourism of the country as well. Also, around 3.5 lakh under 5 children die of diarrhea alone every year, and according to census 2011, only 33% of the rural households were using latrines, whereas 87.4% urban population did so, and at the national level, it was 50%. It means that the rural sanitation has not reached to 2/3 of the population, rural population. The rural sanitation program till 1995, there was emphasis only on the construction of latrines. But recently, Central Rural Sanitation Program has been expanded and it includes 7 different packages. The components of the package of the rural sanitation are: number 1, safe handling of drinking water; number 2, scientific disposal of waste water; number 3, safe disposal of human excreta, including child excreta. It was realized that there are more harms caused by child excreta. On the contrary, community members have a belief that child excreta is free from germs. Disposal of garbage and animal excreta, home sanitation, food hygiene, and improved personal hygiene. And 7th is the village sanitation. So the rural priority has been shifted. We have moved from sanitation to provision of rural sanitation program, which includes safe water supply. Certain housing standards have been made, and there are emphasis on 4 F's, means fecal disposal through construction of latrines, fly control through solid waste disposal, food hygiene, and finger hygiene by efficient hand washing. A number of priorities have been fixed for rural sanitation now. The priorities for rural sanitation have been fixed as: number 1, preference will be given to the twin pit model of water seal latrine, particularly in rural areas. And school sanitation, providing toilets in the schools should be given highest priority to inculcate safe hygienic habits among school children. The idea is that if the safe hygienic practices are inculcated among the school children, it will be carried out through entire life. And it has been also observed that 50% of the messages or activities are directly passed from children to their parents, and therefore whatever they learn in the school, there is every probability that this will be taken into their houses as well. Village panchayats should adopt building bylaws where dry latrines are not permissible and water seal type of latrines are to be constructed. The state council proposed for urban sanitation sector should also have the mandate for rural sanitation. Subsidy for low-cost household toilets should only be given to rural below poverty line BPL families and should not be par with the subsidy for urban households. In order to mobilize funds for rural sanitation, financial institutions, banks including HUDCO and National Bank of Agriculture and Rural Development, NABARD, should extend loan to the states at lower rates of interest for provision of sanitary latrines. Private sector should be encouraged in setting up building centers and sanitary marts in rural areas to provide cost-effective sanitation technology. The technology should be brought as close to the user as possible, and role of private sector, including corporate social responsibility program, should be taken. The recommendations made for urban low-cost sanitation should also apply to the rural areas as well. To make change in behavior of the people and adoption of sanitary latrines, there is a need for intensive information, education, and communication to the women groups, to Panchayat Raj institutions and village health and sanitation committees through multiple channels. And it should be taken care that the different channels provide the same message so that there will be no confusion at the outreach level, at the peripheral level, and this is likely not only to increase their knowledge, but it will bring out behavioral change in them, and adoption of sanitary latrines will be easier in rural areas. A number of social factors are related to excreta disposal. Indiscriminate open field defecation leads to soil pollution in villages and in slums, and it is responsible for 70 to 80% of illness related to water contamination and poor sanitation. Latrines are identified as dirty places and nuisance of odor and flies. Normally it is not so scientifically, but if the latrines constructed, particularly community latrines, their hygienic conditions are not maintained, then there will be high fly density, and this deters people to use those latrines. Toilets constructed by government are used as storage bins. In many areas, toilets have been constructed by government in different programs in many villages. And if there is no behavioral change, or if there is no felt need for latrines, people will think that is the government's program, and they use these constructed area for latrine as storage bins. This is unfortunate because a lot of money is going into this process, but benefit is not accrued by the masses at all. So we have to create a demand-driven strategy rather than supply-oriented strategy as far as construction of latrines is concerned. Enough demand should be created. People should be emphasized that why latrines should be constructed and what benefit can be accrued through this process. Hands are used for the act of ablution, and improper washing of hands leads to contamination of food and water bodies. As excreta of children is considered harmless, they defecate in and around house, and after cleaning, mothers don't wash their hands with soap and water. And particularly if this is being practiced, then it will lead to contamination of soil, food and water. Open field defecation is not considered as a health hazard by many villagers. Many contribute to the act of defecation with morning walk and smoking. The problem is of serious concern due to smoking, land and less space for open defecation in urban areas, particularly. Now people are going for latrines. Now, after discussing social barriers, now I would like to discuss about sanitation barrier. Sanitation barrier means is a barrier through which the disease-causing pathogens are unable to reach the susceptible host directly or indirectly. Improper disposed excreta may contaminate any one of the followings. 5 F's, commonly known as fluids, food, flies, fingers, fomites, like water, food, or soil through fingers or flies, leading to disease transmission in a new host. Sanitation barrier basically can be of two types. Primary sanitation barrier. In this, proper disposal of excreta forms a barrier which would not allow the organism to enter into the environment by constructing a borehole latrine or any type of sanitary latrine. It means the organism is not going to the environment, and sanitary latrines which prevents the disease agent to enter the environment either directly or indirectly. Whereas secondary sanitation barrier means once the organism reaches the food, fomites, water, flies or fingers, it means the organism is reaching to the vehicles of the transmission of the disease, then making these foods non-infectious by food sanitation, water purification, controlling flies, washing hands, will also reduce the disease burden. But certainly, it is ideal to have primary sanitation barrier or construction of latrines so that the vehicles are not contaminated and the disease transmission will be controlled best by instituting primary sanitation barrier. Now coming to the next agenda, that is essential features of sanitary latrine. Sanitary latrines serve the purpose of sanitation barrier. Sanitary latrines are cleaned automatically in a systematic manner through flush. Sanitary latrines are also known by other names like clean latrines, non-service type latrines, sanitary sandas, clean healthy latrines. It prevents direct contact of the feces with the 5 agents of disease transmission, vis-a-vis water, fingers, flies, soil, and food. Types of sanitary latrines. Number 1, A. Borehole latrines, dugwell latrines, water seal latrines, which are again of two types, PRI type and RCA type, septic tank, aqua privae, and shallow and deep trench latrines. Now, borehole latrine. In this latrine, a pit that is about 6 meters deep and 40 centimeters in diameter is dug. This type of latrines serve a family of 5 to 6 people for a year. Presently, these latrines are not in use. Since the whole of these latrines is using a boring machine, these are named as borehole latrine. Just now we discussed about borehole latrines. A modification of that is dugwell latrines. In dugwell latrines, a pit of this type is constructed for which neither a boring machine is required nor auger is needed. On the whole, it is 3.3 meters deep and 75 centimeters in diameter. A concrete plate is placed on it to sit on the hole. A small family can use it for many years after that the pit is closed. Water seal latrines, as I said earlier, that in the rural sanitation program, water seal latrines are getting importance. It is a improved version of sanitary latrine for small towns and rural areas. Here, excreta is hand flushed by the user. Therefore, it is also known as hand flushed latrines as well. These latrines are of two types. One is PRA type and RCA type. Septic tank, in the absence of public sewage system, sewage is disposed of through septic tanks. This brick and cement tank has two chambers. It has an inlet through which excreta enters the tank, and effluent is collected in the constructed pit through outlet. Periodic removal of sludge from the tank is essential. Then aqua privae, it has a chamber-like structure below the latrine pan which retains water. Effluents are allowed to pass into an underground covered pit. This type of latrine is very useful for small families and railway stations particularly. We have shallow and deep trench latrines also. These type of latrines are used temporarily as camps and fairs, particularly in Kumbh Mela or other type of where large agglomeration of people takes place. Shallow and deep trench latrines have been used. A shallow trench that is 30 centimeter broad and 90 to 150 centimeter deep is dug. Dug up trench is 2 to 2.5 meters deep and 75 to 90 centimeter broad. Length of both these trenches kept in proportion to the number of people who are going to use this. There are other types of latrines, and their salient features are like this. One is service latrine. Service latrine was in use long back when men used to clean excreta from these types of latrines, which is against the dignity of man and also responsible for water and soil pollution and various infections. In fact, the World Health Organization has condemned such type of latrines which were existing earlier. So service latrines has to be stopped and only non-service type of latrines should be in use. Travelers latrine. These are used in trains and other means of transport like ships. It produces foul smell and deep, also creates unpleasant view. Hence, this method of excreta disposal is not appropriate for public point of view. In aeroplanes, we are using chemical closet. Direct pit latrines, the excreta falls directly into the pit through a drop hole. When the pit gets filled up to 1 meter sort of, the squatting plate is removed and it is covered with earth and allowed to undergo anaerobic putrefaction. Indirect pit latrines, a concrete squatting plate complete with pan, a trap, and a collecting pipe assembly leads to a circular pit. The excreta received in the pan are hand flushed by the user. After the pit filled up to desired level, that is 1 meter below, covered with earth dome, and allowed to undergo anaerobic putrefaction. Ventilated improved pit latrines, popularly known as VIP latrines, a concrete squatting plate fixed on the top of the pit. The excreta falls directly into the pit through a drop hole. There is no provision for a water seal. When the pit contents rises up to 1 meter below ground level, its squatting plate is removed and it is topped with earth cover to allow anaerobic putrefaction of excreta. So this is a diagram. Fresh air is drawn into the pit. A flow of air draws out orders from the pit, and there is a cover slab, and this is the improved variety. There are other types of toilets like EcoSun toilet. EcoSun toilets have the advantage urine is diverted. Urine diverting, dehydrating toilets are commonly termed as EcoSan toilets. The ecological sanitation, EcoSan toilet is waterless and has dehydration evaporation system. Feces, urine and wash water where people follow ablution after defecation need to be separated using a special design toilet 3-hole seat. It helps in saving water, preventing contamination of groundwater, and recycling nutrients excreted by human beings to agriculture. The dry waste is manageable and can be processed in the following ways: used in making of compost, disposal by using municipal waste services, used as a source of fuel, and urine diverted to the storage tank can be applied to crops as nitrogen-rich fertilizer containing both phosphorus and potassium. So this is in this feces, urine and water parts are diverted. So there is a seat cover. We have steps, pedestal, one can go up, and there is urine diversion. And so this not only makes the environment clean, but there is a most efficient use of the different components of urine is used as fertilizer, and then the other type of toilets which are getting important these days is e-toilets. It is India's first electronic public toilet. It incorporates full cycle approach in sustainable sanitation. The insertion of a coin opens the door of the e-toilet for the user, switches on a light, thus saving energy, and even directs the person with the audio commands. This toilet is getting importance. The toilets are programmed to flush 1.5 liters of water after 3 minutes of usage. It is also programmed to clean the platform with complete wash down after every 5 or 10 persons use the toilet. Kerala is the first state in India to offer the connected e-toilet facility. And since Kerala has taken the lead, it's possible that other states will also follow. Sulabh Shauchalaya movement in India has been quite successful attempt. It is a water flush toilet connected to twin pits. It is a hand flush water seal latrine and is essentially an improved version of the RCA latrine, having pit size of about 1 cubic meter. It can be adapted to different hydrogeological and physical conditions. Thousands of Sulabh toilets complexes in slums and towns all over India are being used by 10 million people at present. The biggest advantage is that it is self-sustainable. There are a number of reasons of success of Sulabh Shauchalaya movement in India. Number one, it is a non-governmental initiative. It does not mean that governmental initiatives fails, but being a non-governmental initiative, it has better penetration wherever it is required. The system is self-supporting. It means user fees are being taken, and from that, its maintenance and cleanliness is taken care. Because we have also constructed community latrines, but the adoption of community latrines has been not to that extent as Sulabh Shauchalayas are being used. The reason being very simple, because their maintenance is very good. The cleanliness maintained by Sulabh Shauchalayas are there, and that is the reason why it draws people towards it. The biogas plants have been established to generate combustible gas and electricity from the excreta in places where the number of latrines is large. If the number of latrines are large, then biogas plants have been also being constructed with them. The organization not only builds the toilets but also provides maintenance services for smooth functioning. So we can say that a number of reasons are there why Sulabh Shauchalayas movement has been a successful initiative in India. Though we have not been successful to that extent in generating demand or maintenance, particularly from the government sector. Lastly, coming to the last point, public health importance of excreta disposal. As we had discussed earlier, that basic sanitation is one of the important duties of anybody who is interested in the health of the people. About 70 to 80% of diseases related to water contamination are directly or indirectly being governed by excreta disposal. And therefore, excreta disposal should receive the utmost priority in public health programs. Human excreta is an important cause of environmental pollution and source of infection as well. For healthy environment, removal and safe disposal of excreta are important responsibility of any society. The health hazards of improper excreta disposals are many. It leads to soil pollution. Soil pollution particularly will be responsible for diseases like hookworm, infestation, water pollution that will lead to diarrhea, cholera, and so many other hepatitis and so many other diseases, and contamination of food that may be responsible for, again, foodborne diseases, and propagation of flies that is responsible for many diseases. So just to summarize at the end, we all know that sanitation is the process of collection, transport, treatment, and disposal of refuse of human excreta, domestic wastewater, and solid waste, and associated hygiene promotion. Putting a sanitation barrier that will stop access, that is of excreta with the food, water bodies, soil, is likely to check many diseases. Primary and secondary sanitation barriers enforcement holds great promise in provision of basic sanitation. Every attempt should be made to place primary sanitation barriers in place by construction of latrines, and if that fails, then secondary sanitation barriers are required. It means that the organism has already reached to the food, reached to the water bodies, and then water treatment and other control measures has to be instituted. There are different types of latrines. Their selection is context specific. Say, for example, in Kumbh Mela, or when there is a short accumulation of people at a particular place, then we go for trench latrines. In remote areas or difficult areas, where we can think of constructing earlier we are constructing bore latrines or dug latrines, but certainly as the Government of India has committed for provision of rural sanitation program, that is sanitary latrines with flush facilities, flush type of latrines, that has to be encouraged. Finally, thank you very much for visiting EPG Pathshala.